Chris as well. We're going to be talking about some of the negative effects that new media is having on the workplace, including the three biggest offenders: Facebook, Twitter, and texting on your smartphone. Sorry. Douglas Hofstadter said that there is no new knowledge, only the refashioned ideas of previous technological and cultural advancements. Recent advancements in social networking and technology have made people change how they spend their time, especially in the workplace, and there's a lot more people wasting their time on these things. So what is new media? It generally describes all communication made through computers or computer technology, including websites, email, chat rooms, YouTube, even your digital camera and your smartphone. Businesses really need to keep up to date with this new media though, because business is happening more and more on an international level. So they always need to have constant access to the internet. But when you have constant access to the internet, you're really tempted to spend all your time finding out what your friends are doing or where they are, what they're buying, right? So it's a really new challenge for the workplace, trying to figure out how to keep people from spending all day on that and how to keep them from spending all day trying to unblock those sites. So we're going to talk about why you should not do that and why you really need to be careful about it, and so you don't get addicted to these things and you don't get fired. So on that note, Noreen will tell you about Facebook.
Hello everyone. So what is Facebook? Facebook is a social networking website which has more than 500 million active users. It's a website that's made to help us connect with other people and make us build our network. But this has turned into one of the biggest reasons for disruptions in the workplace. Facebook is having a negative effect in the work. We start off with procrastination. Many of us check our Facebooks the minute we wake up, when we're going to work, in between classes, or even in class. All of this time that we spend on Facebook is making us forget important tasks on hand. Because of this, people are getting addicted to Facebook. It has not only captured the younger generation, but it's also captured the older generation. This addiction builds an urge that includes a strong compulsive component. This addiction is called Facebook addiction disorder, FAD for short. You know, if you're a Facebook addict, if you spend a lot of time on Facebook instead of doing other activities that you had planned, if you had stopped doing the hobbies that you used to do and enjoyed, and if you have stopped using verbal communication and face-to-face contact. So now I have a video of a woman who admitted that she's addicted to Facebook.
I'm on Facebook about 2 to 3 times an hour.
Mona Samidke admits she's addicted.
Sometimes there's no purpose in me really getting on it. I just got on it 5 minutes ago and I have to feel the need to get on again to see what's the new update.
The 24-year-old graduate student who's been a Facebook member since it started in 2004 says it's her primary tool for communicating with friends and family.
I have about 1,100 friends, a lot of college friends and family and high school friends that I keep in touch with.
And she fesses up, she's put off schoolwork to chat with friends on Facebook.
Just a really great distraction.
Samudke is not alone. According to Facebook, the average user has 130 friends on the site. More than 10 million users become fans of pages every day. And while some may find the social network...
So, back to Facebook. We have other negative effects as well that affect the workplace. So leakage of information. Facebook, coworkers tend to socialize on Facebook, and when they do that, they don't realize that they're posting things on Facebook that other people in their network can see. This not only starts gossip in the company, but it also makes the company's competitors have an advantage with information that's leaked through. Unemployed because of Facebook. Various people who are applying for jobs don't get hired because of it, because when a candidate applies for a job, and when the employer does a background check, they check if the person is, the right candidate for them. And as you can see, if you have like Facebook pictures like that, you're not going to get hired. And the reason why because of that is because when a company hires you, it expects you to be a representation of that company. And now, our last point is getting fired because of Facebook. Getting fired because of Facebook is becoming so popular that it's actually a term in the Urban Dictionary. And the reasons why people get fired is because something you say on Facebook and it's company related, or if you spend too much time during work, and that's time is money, so yeah. And I'm going to pass it on to Anna, who's going to talk about Twitter.
Okay, so what is Twitter? Twitter is a microblogging site that allows you to update people on what you're up to and also follow others to keep up to date on what they're up to. Twitter's slogan is "What's happening?" And you can tweet your status in 140 characters or less. Twitter can be useful for businesses because it can allow people to follow them on. Say if you have a deal, you can tweet it, and then your customers or potential clients can follow up on that. With 190 million users on Twitter, there's a lot of businesses that take advantage of this because it's free advertising. So, although there are benefits to using Twitter, there are also incidents where people have gotten into trouble and been fired for what they tweeted. This was an actual case where an employee was fired because of Twitter. These are all from the same guy. So David was a summer jobs contractor for Washington, D.C. Department of Employment Services. His job was to help youth in Anacostia secure employment. So in one of his tweets, he referred to the neighborhood as America's ghetto and even joked about gang violence. So that's he obviously didn't think anything was going to happen or anything was going to come of this, but his supervisor saw this and he got fired. The chairman of the committee was insulted and called his tweets unprofessional, wrong, and racist. So this is a lesson to be mature and represent yourself and the company you work for in a professional manner, because you never know who's following you. So I'm going to pass off to Chris, who's doing text messaging.
Okay, so I'm going to be talking about the disadvantages of text messaging. So basically, texting and emailing has become such a big part of communication in today's workplace. A long time ago, people never used emailing or texting to communicate with each other. Now, companies use email to send out policies and such, and it's just so fast as opposed to writing it on a piece of paper and giving it out, and people have to take their time and go and read it. With an improvement in communication, workplaces have seemed to have improved productivity because of texting and emailing. A lot of people think it is alright to text in the workplace for personal use. Texting your child to check up on them every so often is alright, but texting them too much becomes a problem. People who text in the workplace usually tend to discuss non-work related things. And if you're a manager, it's sometimes hard to tell whether your employees are actually using their phone for business or they're just talking to their coworker about how the weekend went. This problem is especially true if you have young people working for your company. The reason for this is because teenagers rely on texting and emailing for primary use of communication. It would take several reminders before they're willing to stop messaging their friends before they go to work or during work. Texting can be very effective, but also when people get carried away, at the end of the month, you might have a huge bill waiting for you. So another problem with texting in the workplace can lead to other things like sexting. So, in the Urban Dictionary, the definition of sexting would be when a guy or girl sends dirty texts back and forth to each other. Pictures may also be included, but only if you're lucky. So, for this, there was a case in the U.S. Supreme Court about whether a California city violated the rights of an employee by reading the explicit messages on the individual's device. Even though a decision has not been made, texting in the workplace can get you into a lot of trouble, and it may result in your rights being violated. Texting is one of the most used forms of communication in the workplace, and about 80% of Americans have cell phones today, in which 30% of those have access to the internet on their phone. So they can go on Facebook, they can go on Twitter. In about 2005, 50% of people only use cell phones. The main reason for this is due to the recent increase in separation of home and work communications. Employees who choose to use their work phones for shopping or browsing on Facebook will lead to negative consequences regarding their professional images. Employees often forget that bosses have the right to go over their text messaging trail or history.
All of these are real stories and real things that have happened to people, so it's really dangerous if you don't be careful with how much time you're spending on these things. So you've just got to be responsible with it. Remember that it is addictive. So like everything that's addictive, you have to know your limits. So just be responsible. And now we have a little activity for you guys. Chris, would you hand out the cards? We're going to test if you guys are addicted to Facebook or any other social network sites. So the way the activity is going to work is you get 3 cards, red, yellow, and green. Red means you're answering no to the questions that we're going to ask you. Green is yes, and yellow means maybe or sometimes.
And just hold it up high so we can see it.
Yeah, and so everyone else in the room can see it too. So we know if it's got problems. Oh, so you have those 3 cards are your answers to the questions we're going to ask.
So there's yes. And what applies to Is everyone ready?
We're starting.
Sorry. Hey, do you lose sleep due to late night vlogging? Oh, majority of them out here says no, but there's like half out there. Yeah. Interesting. Would you ever get a Twitter account?
If you don't already have one.
Okay, most of you said no. Some of you said
Why would you say no?
Because I can do the same thing from my Facebook status, and I don't want to look at 2 things.
Yeah, exactly.
But you can link them together now.
Oh,
Same time.
Yeah.
Get out of class, get a Twitter.
Do people in your life often complain that you spend too much time Facebooking, tweeting, or texting? Really? You have to be honest. Okay, so there's 1 yes. Do you find yourself saying just a few more minutes when you're on Facebook?